Once upon a time, in the heart of an old African village called Umuoja, there lived a bright and curious girl named Adanma. She was the only child of her parents. Her mother, Mama Nkechi, was the best garri seller in the village, and her father, Papa Ease, was a skilled farmer who grew yams that fed the entire community. Adanma was a hardworking girl who loved her parents deeply. She spent her days helping Mama Nkechi fry garri in the big clay pot over an open fire, fetching water from the stream, and gathering firewood in the forest. Despite the hard work, her laughter always rang out like a sweet melody across the village. But as Adanma grew older, her eyes began to wander. She had heard stories of the city, the tall buildings, shiny cars, and people dressed in fine clothes. The city is where dreams come true, she often heard people say. And as she reached her teenage years, a longing grew in her heart to leave the village behind and see this magical place for herself. One sunny morning, as Adanma pounded yam with her mother, she sighed loudly. "Mama, why don't we ever leave this village? Look at me, pounding yam like a child. I want to go to the city and see the world." Mama Nkechi laughed. "Adanma, the city is not for people like us. Our life is here, where we are safe and at peace." But Adanma couldn't be convinced. The stories of bright lights and endless excitement filled her dreams every night. So, one day, when her uncle from the city visited and offered to take her along to help with his shop, she jumped at the chance. "Mama, Papa, I promise I'll come back and make you proud," she said as she hugged them tightly. Her parents were hesitant, but they let her go, believing she would stick to the good values they had taught her.
Wait, the story is not yet over. I just want to utilize this opportunity to plead on you, my friends, to hit on the subscribe button so you never miss out on more exciting tales like these. Thank you.
When Adanma arrived in the city, everything was exactly as she imagined, loud, bright, and full of life. She was mesmerized by the colorful dresses, the busy streets, and the tall buildings. Her uncle's shop was small, and she worked hard there during the day. But at night, the city called out to her with its temptations. She soon met a girl named Amaka, who lived in the same neighborhood. Amaka was bold, confident, and loved the nightlife. "Adanma, you can't just work all day," she said. "Let me show you the real city life." Adanma hesitated at first, but eventually gave in. She followed Amaka to clubs, where the music was loud, the drinks flowed freely, and everyone danced like there was no tomorrow. Adanma felt alive, like she had finally found her place in the world. Weeks turned into months. She began to skip work at her uncle's shop, preferring to party with Amaka and her other new friends. She wore flashy clothes, stayed out late, and ignored her uncle's warnings. "Adanma, this city will chew you up and spit you out," he told her one evening. But she laughed it off. One fateful night, Adanma and her friends went to a club in a part of the city she didn't know well. The night started like any other: music, laughter, and dancing. But as the hours passed, things took a dark turn. A fight broke out between two rival groups. Chairs were thrown, bottles shattered, and chaos erupted. Adanma tried to leave, but in the confusion, she found herself trapped. She didn't see the man behind her until it was too late. A sharp pain tore through her side, and she fell to the ground. Her friends were nowhere to be found. The bright lights of the club blurred, and the sounds of the city faded into silence. When the police arrived hours later, they found Adanma lying in a pool of her own blood, barely alive. She clutched her stomach, tears streaming down her face. With her last strength, she whispered, "Take me home. Please, take me home." Adanma's body was returned to Umuoja, where her parents wept bitterly. The villagers gathered, shaking their heads and whispering about the dangers of the city. Adanma's story became a cautionary tale for the young girls of the village, a reminder that not all that glitters is gold. And so, the sun set over Umuoja, painting the sky red as if mourning Adanma's fate. In her parents' hearts, she would always be their golden child who dreamed too big and paid the ultimate price. And from that day, her name became a song of warning, whispered in the wind,